Dave, great to see you again, and just actually saw you yesterday and today working with Suzann Pettersen. She seems to be grinding pretty hard.
Well, I think that's her nature. I'm trying to get her to lighten up and smile and everything, but she's very focused. She's really into the feel. I mean, obviously the short game is not her expertise per se, and she's doing really well. I mean, I think her putting and her chipping and everything has improved, sand traps, and it makes the long game that much easier. I'm expecting her to play really good this week.
You were saying to me before we started rolling that you never wanted to retire, but you're getting a lot more work.
Well, yeah, it's different. I mean, I got the first rotator cuff in 2009 and second in 2010 with a blood clot thrown in the middle that almost killed me. So, it probably is a wake-up call. I mean, obviously I'm far enough over the money list I can still be playing, but you got to be selfish if you're playing for yourself. And I know my dad, since he was my only teacher, is looking down and realizing how much enjoyment I am, helping the names that I'm getting to help. It's fantastic, and you're making a big difference, and it's really enjoyable.
You were mentioning the satisfaction you get seeing youngsters that are really helped by what you do.
Well, yeah, I mean, like last year, McIlroy of his disaster at the Masters, and we started Charlotte 3 weeks later, and basically it was going to be a mental talk, and we went out on the putting green, and putting didn't take 10, 12 minutes. My son Ronnie was with me, and then I asked him if he'd chipped some because I saw some things I wanted to see, and he said yeah, which was like a 500-yard walk at Quail Hollow to the opposite end of the range, and then again that didn't take 15 minutes, and it's led to a really great relationship, and I was very proud. My second PGA win was at Congressional, my second major, and for him to I did not, obviously nobody's played a course like he has. I mean, he made it look like it was not that hard, and I know it was, but it was a great deal of satisfaction to see somebody implode on a major like he did and then come back in the very next one and just blow away the field. I mean, that hasn't happened.
Dave, can you give us some insight from your perspective? Because I've been around the game for 25 years. And I could never think of a guy who had an implosion at one major and at the very next major was so dominant. I mean, the turnaround is just unheard of.
Well, and I think primarily because it was done mentally. I mean, I told him my critique of the Masters was he got a bad pairing. He had Cabrera the last round and a bad pairing. World's nicest guy, but he played just as fast as McIlroy. So they spent all day hitting their shots, running down there and getting ready, and then having to wait 10 or 12 minutes. And I told him it was more of a pace of play issue than anything. Yeah, I can fix the putting. I mean, it was, he didn't take practice strokes. He's one of the few that goes too fast rather than too slow. Most everybody that's not particularly good at putting, the more the pressure, the more they slow down, the more precise they try to get. And in fact, David and Ronnie and I, when we teach, we call it a signature approach. And the first thing we do is have somebody sign their signature. And we all know how to sign our signature. Now you look at your own signature, and then slowly I want you to try to duplicate it. You can't do it. You'll be 2 letters in your own name, and you can't do it. And yet you can see this screen here at Mission Hills this week, or the Masters next week. You're going to see people grinding, and it's got to be a mental see it and let it go, and not slowing down, not trying. And that doesn't mean you don't care, but it's got to. People can learn a lot from McIlroy's routine of. There's no practice stroke. He's sitting behind it, look at it, and just get up and let it go. It's almost like he's not worried about it, and because he's not worried about it, it's going to be free and easy, and it makes a difference.
I could talk to you for hours, but I know you have work to do. I'll just ask you one more question, and that is, talk about you. Having been a great player, having won major championships, and now you have another generation of great players that you're playing a big role helping out.
Well, it's neat. I mean, until McIlroy got back number 2, I had both number 1s, with McIlroy and Yanni Singh on this tour, and now I have Suzann Pettersen number 3, and working with Brittany Lang especially this week, and Ronnie's working with Morgan Pressel. I mean, we got great names, and then of course my number 1 student is Mickelson, but he's the point that he's coaching me now rather than me coaching him. I mean, he really understands what I want, and he doesn't need anything more. He doesn't need a bunch of ideas. And that's another thing. You come to a major, and all of a sudden, a lot of the teachers show up, and and I'm a firm believer. Like all these girls that we're working with here, we work with the last week at Kia, and started early in the week, because by the time they get here, I want it in their subconscious. I don't want to show up on a Tuesday and Wednesday and say, oh, by the way, you need to do this, because you can't get it done. That's coming from me as a player, and you know, I know for a fact, like Mickelson's preparation for Augusta starts a couple of weeks before, and he gets there, you know, and he's ready, and he's going to be ready for it. It can't happen the week of the tournament.
No, it sure can't. You're a pro's pro. Dave, thank you so much for your time, and continued good luck to you.
I appreciate it. Thanks. Good talking to you.